at the tail end of our relationship, and I was broken. So when I say broken
Yes.
in so many ways.
Learning spiritual warfare under his leadership helped me a whole lot, because if it wasn't for that teaching, then who knows, I could be in a mental institution. I could be somewhere strapped up, going crazy, or just completely gave up on myself. So Bishop Willie J. Campbell really played a really important part in my life.
I was in my healthcare career, but I was fighting to get into leadership because I honestly wasn't the right color. Even though I've always been able to articulate and express myself because of the color of my skin, I had some challenges.
And I just kept realizing, like, this thing is really growing. I mean, I would take pictures of trees. I would be in the cold, just taking pictures of the snow. Like, literally put your snow boots on and your snow clothes on and go outside, just take pictures of anything I could see. And this passion just kept growing, it kept growing, and it kept growing.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Growth Motivator Live with me, your host, Dr. Lisa L. Campbell. I am here today with a friend of mine that I met, so many years ago. We're going to get into that, Dr. John C. Hall. And we are going to talk today about mastering the art of self-discipline for personal growth. And I also think professional growth as well.
Yes.
So how are you today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I am good. So listen, let's tell the people. The people need to know how we met. For those of you who have not watched one of the episodes before, I definitely believe in authentic, transparent conversations, because that's what reaches people, everyday people.
Yes.
So we met when we were both attending St. James Ministry.
Yes.
Under the leadership of Bishop Willie J. Campbell.
Yes.
And I know that I've grown a lot during that time frame, but tell our listening and viewing audience from that point where you were then and where you are now. And again, we trying to reach people, heart, where they are. So don't leave out the bad stuff.
Well, honestly, as you stated, a lot of growth from that point until now. But then I was still trying to figure everything out. I knew I was called to the ministry, but I was still trying to run from it at the same time. Becoming a licensed barber, because I wasn't fully a licensed barber yet. So it was a lot of things that, God was preparing me for then, that I'm fully walking into now. But back then it was hard, because it was a lot of depression back then. Everything seemed to stress me out back then, but it all played a part to who I am now. Because when you go through things, it's a learning process. It's things that you learn in the process. So back then it was a lot of depression, a lot of going through a lot of church hurt, trying to figure things out. Why me? Why not me? So yeah, it was.
Ooh, you said so much.
It was a lot.
You said so much in just that 1 minute that I just started to reflect on my own life.
Wow.
When I came to St. James, which was 1998, I don't think I've ever shared this, so this is kind of interesting that this is unfolding like this. But what you go through is not to help you, it's to help other people.
Yeah.
So when I came to St. James in 1998, I was dating this musician who I feel like was an opportunist because I've always worked a lot of jobs, so I had income coming in.
Okay.
And so our relationship was not one, we were heading in the same direction. And so when I came to St. James, we were at the tail end of our relationship, and I was broken. So when I say broken
Yes.
in so many ways. Single parent of a special needs daughter, Jasmine. I was in my healthcare career, but I was fighting to get into leadership because I honestly wasn't the right color. Even though I've always been able to articulate and express myself, because of the color of my skin, I had some challenges. And so when I came to the ministry, I was broken, and the ministry became honestly the place that saved my life.
Same here.
Um, in my book, Grow With Me, actually one of the chapters is called The House the Campbells Built.
Wow.
And you probably are the first person that is from the St. James space that I probably told it to. So unless people read the book, they wouldn't know this. But the first part of it, I talk about my families because I'm not related to Bishop Campbell. But the Campbells, my father, grandfather, aunts, uncle, mother, all of those folks basically laid a foundation of who you see today. But Bishop Campbell took me to the next level spiritually,
Yes.
to the extent that there are some words and sentences that he used to say that in the middle of the night when I'm crying, all of those words start to come to me.
Yeah.
When I'm laying in this office on the floor crying, I think back to where he said things like, never lose your confidence, right? Delay is not denial.
Yes.
Just all the things that he
Yes.
used to say to
Yes.
us and really feed into us laid that foundation for who we became today.
Yes. Yeah, I can agree. I tell people quite often, even though my foundational pastor started me off in prayer, but it wasn't until I got to St. James and got under Bishop Willie James Campbell where I really learned spiritual warfare, how to fight against spirits, how to fight against thoughts. You know, even sometimes when your mind and depression, things like that come upon you, you know, because what you taught, you know how to fight certain things in prayer. So you know whatever you're going through has a time limit on it. It's not going to stay there forever because, you know, you have these prayers and you fighting in spiritual warfare to go against what's coming at you. So learning spiritual warfare under his leadership helped me a whole lot because if it wasn't for that teaching, then who knows, I could be in a mental institution. I could be somewhere strapped up, you know, going crazy or just completely gave up on myself. So Bishop Willie James Campbell really played a really important part in my life and not looking at what I told him or about disabilities and things in that nature. He just saw God in me and did everything he could to help me while I was under that ministry. Yeah.
So we have something in common. So my first pastor, my foundational pastor is Reverend Lawrence Mosley Sr.
Okay.
And I have to say senior because he had a son
Okay.
who is Lawrence Mosley Jr., who actually is following in his footsteps. So he's a pastor up in New York. And so under Pastor Mosley, I learned about Christ for myself. So I grew up, you know, as a Baptist faith. And so I learned about faith. I learned about reading the Bible. I went to Bible school and, you know, and all the things that you do as a young person. But it wasn't until I went to St. James that I really know that song, Yes, I Know Jesus for Myself. That's when I got to know him for myself.
Yes.
Probably about 5 or 7 years before I started going to St. James. And I don't know if I got the time frame right, but I always say don't get caught up in the mess. Focus on the message. So I one day decided that I no longer wanted to be here. And everything just started weighing heavy on my shoulders,
Yes.
right? Being the single parent of a child who cannot talk, who cannot hear, right? And trying to navigate establishing a career and just being a person.
Yeah.
I took 30 Tylenol one day and was like, I'm not going to be here anymore. Coincidentally, I did not verbalize that until I wrote the book.
Wow.
Because it set me free from that, what do you want to call it? I felt guilty about doing it. But in that room, in that space, that's when I realized that I had a lot to live for. I had people who were dependent on me. And Bishop used to always say, live.
Yeah.
And so even
Yes.
in that room with the 4 walls, I wasn't strapped up, you know, I wasn't medicated. I even remember when they were pumping my stomach, right?
Wow.
So I think about all those things, and it wasn't for me, it was to help somebody else.
Yeah.
When I established the Growth Motivator brand, I realized what my purpose was. And ever since I figured that out, at 49 years of age, I'm not looking back.
Yeah. Correct.
So tell us about this transition from, because I watched you on social media. So you were a barber, now you're doing photography. Help somebody understand what you went through, what things were like, and then where you are today. Because you are helping someone. First of all, you are a black man. You are a black man who is a father to a little black boy who is looking up at you.
Yes, it really is.
Tell us what you went through that process and how you navigated to where you are today.
When I started in photography, well, first I could talk about being a barber. The level that I was actually on a great level when I started photography. I was working at this really nice the barber suite called Solar Suites on 95th, right off of Ashland in Chicago. Again, I kept saying to my wife, I said, oh man, I would love to have a camera to take better pictures of my haircuts. Because when I go on YouTube and I go on Instagram, I see these well-known barbers with these nice cameras. And I was like, man, if I give me a camera like that, I could take better pictures of my haircut. And I just kept saying it. I kept saying it. And surprisingly, that year, my wife surprised me with an entry-level professional camera. But what I didn't know, I thought I could just slap the lens on and just start taking pictures, like it's just gonna be all good, like you do with your cell phone. And to realize that wasn't the case, I'm like, okay. So I had to go on YouTube, learn how to work the camera, learn settings and things of that nature. But when you're on YouTube, they're just not going to tell you about the settings of the camera. They're also going to tell you like, okay, well, yeah, you could use this for photo shoots and you could use this for this. And I instantly started thinking, I'm like, hold up. I can charge this price and just make extra money to take photos. I already know how to do angles and things of that nature. So I got this camera. Now I'm on a good level. I got decent clientele at this location, but here comes a new fruit. Here comes a new passion. And I just kept realizing like this thing is really growing. I mean, I would take pictures of trees. I would be in the cold, just taking pictures of the snow, like literally put your snow boots on and your snow clothes on to go outside, just take pictures of anything I could see. And this passion just kept growing, it kept growing, and it kept growing to the point that I said, you know what, I'm just gonna put it out there. Anybody want to take a photo, do a photo shoot? $50. Didn't know I was undervaluing myself even at that time. And I put it out there. People started booking. I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. So now I'm trying to purchase things like backdrops and things, lights and that nature to help me out in photography. Make a long story short, I do my first photo shoot. Everyone started booking and things. I'm like, wow. So now I'm trying to learn even more. But the transition, it was pretty smooth. Just that it started taking time from my clientele as a barber. And, when God started moving you in new areas, it could seem strange. It could seem like you're neglecting one thing. It could also seem like you're not appreciating, the first fruit or the first passion. But I just had to flow with it. The desire of it, the passion of it became so strong that I am who I am now. So I was trying to come up with a name. I was like, okay, everybody know me as Barber JC. I'm just gonna put Barber JC Photography. I'm just gonna put it out there like that. So it wasn't a bad transition. It was actually smooth transition. I think I'm experiencing more challenges now than I did, coming into it, because now that I'm a published photographer now, and things of that nature. So it requires more of my time now. It requires more of me creating more now, which takes more time from barbering. But it's like how God is doing it is like, people always ask me, are you going to let go of barbering? I can't really say I'm going to let go of it. I'm just flowing how God, allowed me to flow with it. But it could be challenged financially. But
I know about that.
I'm not going to tell no stories. When it comes to financial, it's a struggle because barbering is already challenging financially because professional clippers are expensive, just plain out expensive. not knowing that I'm going into another career where the equipment is even more expensive than it is in barbering. So financially, yes, it's extremely challenging. Um, but the outcome is beautiful. I love taking pictures. I love people to see the images, and when they see the images, it make them feel better about themselves because they see themselves in a different light. Of course, just like what you do here at the show, people see themselves in a different light. Just not the natural light, but it's a spiritual light they see themselves in, and it help encourage them to continue to go on. So, yeah.
Oh, I love it. And you know what? Listen, I had a healthcare consulting business for 21 years. During that 21 years, I was in 2 office locations. This is the second one. And each level, there's another devil.
Oh yes.
But I grew.
Yes.
I grew. I grew so that I can continue going. Because I think that when you get stuck, you don't really grow. But also, all the seeds that we planted in the ground 20 years ago, all the tears that we shed, that set us up for the next level. If you think about it, it's raining today, right?
Yeah.
And so I spent many days driving from here home crying, at home in the tub crying, in here on the floor crying. All of that was preparing me for such a time as this.
Yes.
And I continue to think about what Bishop Campbell says. Don't lose that confidence.
Yes. Yeah, it's, thinking about the struggle of becoming an entrepreneur, thinking about the struggle of being a barber, and this even be prior to me being married to my wife, Sonia Hall.
Come on, shout your wife out, Sonia Hall. I love it. I let the people know.
Oh, Lord have
Listen,
mercy.
you got to let the people know I am taken.
Lord have mercy. As my pastor now say, mercy, Lord, mercy, Lord. But even before, this marriage, it was a struggle because now if you want to talk about struggle, the struggle to becoming a barber was the real struggle. That was the real struggle because I'm talking about traveling to people's homes just to cut hair, just to be able to put gas in my car because I was working at Payless. I was working at Payless Shoes. I never forget when I started barber college, I was working at Payless Shoes. And when I started barber college, I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, I can make money being a barber and stuff like that. So one thing I didn't do, even though I had hard times, I did not allow anything to stop me from going to school. So Payless wasn't willing to really cooperate with my time at school. They kept saying I'm arriving late because, the time I get out of school and stuff like that. So they went on and terminated me for being late multiple times because they didn't want to adjust my schedule according to my school schedule.
They set you up.
Literally.
They set you up.
Literally. But the struggle is I had to travel to people's homes, cut hair, and uncomfortable places, bad lighting to cut hair, just to try to put gas in my car to make it to school every day. And I had an old little putt, it barely made it, but it made it. But yeah, so that, and then going through a challenging relationship at that time, where it was like, okay, yeah, I will help you start school, but I can't really support you while you're in school because you're quote unquote not being what I need you to be. So it's a challenging in being in a relationship where, they just want you to be a certain thing so that,
They want you to have some money, take care of them, and them not taking care of you.
There
when
you
it's
go.
really, when it's real, it's a give and take. You're supporting each other, and I know as a man, that make you feel a certain kind of way.
Correct. And I was trying to sugarcoat it a little bit, but
No,
yeah,
listen, you gotta set the people free.
But yeah, but that's true. She was looking for support in an area that I wasn't able to provide because I'm trying to set myself up for long term, and not just short term. Because when you're working for someone, they could pull the plug anytime they feel like it. And I felt like becoming a barber was going to set me up where, okay, even if someone don't allow me to work in their shop, once my skills develop and my clientele develop, no one could cut me off. So. that was my goal even at that time while I was in school. So the challenges of, trying to make it to school, every day, not every day, yeah, but every day, learning how to cut, learning the skill, learning the business, because you just can't learn the skill without learning the business. So you can't learn the business without learning the skill. So you got to do both
But go ahead.
collectively, So, but that was a challenge because I lost relationships. I had people that just said all kind of crazy things about me because of what my focus was. Not, even family members that when you're not showing up at family events and things like that because you working on the holidays and you trying to make people look good for the holidays and you're not at the family events, you're not at the birthday parties, even some funerals I wasn't at because my mindset was to build. So people downed me, talked about me, said all kind of things about me, but I had to still continue to push. I can remember a time that I can remember a time that I was literally depending on a tip in the school from a client because school don't pay you to cut hair, because you got to learn. So sometimes we was able to accept tips from the clients that we service. So sometimes I just like, okay, if this client give me $5, I could put $5 in the tank. Or if the client give me $10, I could take $5, put it in the tank, and then give me something to eat. It was literally that kind of struggle becoming a barber. So I went through it all. I mean, I lost a lot. And then even growing as a barber, you lose people because now you're losing clientele because now people say you think you all that when you change your prices.
But see, here's the deal. Let me just set you free about this. I know you already been set free, but I'm gonna help you with this, even with photography.
Yeah,
They can never pay you your worth,
wow,
but they will pay you your rate.
that's true.
And you want to attract those that you were meant to serve and repel those who you were not meant to serve.
Correct. And actually, you are still helping me in my now because I have a photography mentor, and I have to shout him out, Eric Robinson, because we meet almost every week now, and that is his main thing: charge what you're supposed to charge, because now that I'm comfortable charging what I'm charging in barbering, it seemed like that old John tried to come back of not charging what I need to charge.
Imposter syndrome. You don't think you deserve you don't think you deserve it, but at the end of the day, you have certain responsibilities that
Correct.
you have to pay for. In
Correct.
2022, I started working with a coach, and she's the one that said attract and repel. She's the one who said they will pay you your rate. And there are some things that you're not going to be able to do
Yeah.
because they don't want to pay you. And
Correct.
you can't let that imposter syndrome creep in and make you think you don't deserve that money because
Yeah.
you do.
Yeah.
And it's not just the act of you standing there cutting the hair. What about all the expenses that you have to
Correct.
cut the hair? What about paying yourself to cut the hair?
Yeah, correct.
What about putting food on your table? Because you cut their hair, they look good, they walk out the door, but you hungry.
Yeah,
So that type of thinking is holding you hostage from putting food on your table for your wife,
Yeah.
your wife Sonia Hall, and your son. Right? It's preventing you from doing that.
yeah. And that's what a lot of people don't understand because last year, God gave it to me to turn the booking business over to my wife because they look at me as the man of God, and the first thing they want to say, oh, you're a man of God, you can bless us with this and you can bless us with that, but blessing you with this is also taking food off of my table. Blessing you with this is also me not being able to pay my bills. So God just like, get that part over to your business. I'm not gonna allow them to continue to manipulate your mind anymore, because they'll tell you. I mean, and some people will actually tell you the full truth. Oh yeah, I spent $1,000 on the venue, or I spent $1,000 on my outfit, and I had to pay for this for my kids and pay for that for my kids. But I only have $100 budget for you to just do this shoot.
Bless your ministry. I wish you well. And you know what? And this is what I always have to say. As a professional speaker who has been speaking for 25 years, there have been times where I've spoken for free. There have been times where I've spoken for a small amount. And I gauge those experiences based upon what is going to benefit me. So, for
Correct.
example, if I'm in front of a large studio audience, right, I may take less because maybe I can sell my books, right?
Correct.
Maybe I can book clients who need coaching.
Correct.
So you have to really be strategic about what you will and will not accept. And when you talked about your wife taking over the booking, I think about my talk show that we're doing right now. It required my husband and I to collaborate on a level that we have never collaborated on before.
Yeah.
Now that brings its own set of challenges, right? Because we're both strong-minded individuals.
Yeah.
I'm a woman, he's a man, so men don't want women to tell them what to do. And so it was this tug of war that we were experiencing. But once we both kind of pulled back a little bit, he was like, she gonna make it big. I can quit my job. So let me get behind this camera and this computer and operate this. But it allowed us to make our relationship stronger, right?
Yeah.
Because we were both working towards something that we both see
Yeah.
it clear as day.
Yeah.
In my book, I talk about being on this big stage, right?
Wow.
And it's a stage that I've seen in my dreams. And I have a lot of dreams where those dreams actually do happen. And so I know that we've been together since 2008. So I know the things that we have gone through is just setting us up for those big, large moments. And I have been seeing them clear as day.
Yeah. And it's so powerful you say that, because it was like that. Now, even though I crack jokes with my wife about this all the time, even though she helped me get started in photography, but at the same time, now that I'm ordering all this stuff, Amazon almost every weekend, bringing in packages, you know what I'm saying? So my wife was like, babe, you really need all this stuff? It's kind of expensive, And I kept saying, like, yeah, I need it. But it wasn't until she started coming along with me on certain events, and she started seeing the money flowing in, like selling pictures and things of that nature. Been an event photographer, because I'm an event photographer as well, where I'm able to sell pictures and print pictures on site, and seeing that money come in, and she was like, oh, okay, yeah, this can really benefit us, because I'll never forget that one event that we did, and they really blessed us. I mean, they purchased pictures. I mean, because you're getting quality images and you're getting a quality picture that will last you forever. I love telling people that nothing outlasts a picture.
Oh yeah,
Nothing outlasts a good image. So she started saying that, and then she was like, oh, okay. So even when I asked her about doing the business, she was like, oh, okay, cool, no problem, but yeah, it can be a struggle in the beginning, but, you've been married, I've been married, and, when they can see, naturally, now you may have the dream,
you got the vision.
you got the vision, but when they start being able to understand, that's one thing my wife tells me all the time. No, it's not that I'm not against. It's not that I'm against you. I'm just trying to understand so I can know where I fit in, and so I can know what I need to do. Because I'm the kind of person. I just did this to her the other day. I'm the kind of person. Hey, babe, we're gonna do X, Y, Z, and I just walk off.
Yeah. Me too.
And she'd be like, well, come back. Okay, let's discuss this, because, and it's really prophetic. Dreamers, visionaries is really prophetic, because we'll see something, and God confirming in us, and we ready to go.
Yeah.
It just, it ain't no wait. We just ready to go. But then God bless us with spouses. Speaking of, she's gonna get me for this. But Bishop Campbell also had a saying that, I don't know if you remember this. He said, you can't have two dummies in the household.
Yes.
So I always tease my wife every time she says something, every time she support, and I always tell her, I said, well, Bishop Campbell told us, he told us in marriage counseling, it can't be two dummies in the household. So, I have the vision, I have the goal, you have the business, you have the smarts, you have that educational background that help me out. So she don't like me saying that, but it's true.
But it's the truth. We feed off of each other. Let me tell you, it was a struggle. And I told you in the beginning, this is about authenticity, and I'm known for being authentic. It was a struggle in the beginning because my husband did not see the vision.
Yeah.
Like, I support you kind of, in my opinion, reluctantly, But once he saw the
Yeah.
vision, he was like, "We're gonna get this. We need
Yeah.
this lens. The lens costs more than the camera."
They do. They do.
And so
They
when
do.
even when we recorded season one, we were both learning faster than we were growing. But season two rolled around. He like, we're gonna do this. We're gonna have these microphones on the table. We're gonna have 3 cameras. We're gonna have all these
Yeah.
things set up. But this did not happen overnight.
Not at all.
We had the lights, the studio lights in place before we had all the cameras and equipment. And we just started one after the other buying these different things to make I'm a perfectionist. I know that, nobody is perfect, but
Same.
I have certain visions, about how I wanted to look. And so once he got on board, we just started getting all kind of stuff.
Yep.
In fact, I'm like, we need to make sure that everything we have is next level.
Yeah.
We're not going to get the $59 mic. We're going to get the microphone that gives great quality, rich quality.
Yeah.
Just like cameras, you want rich quality output.
Yeah. And just like what you just said, when it came to event photography, my wife right now to this day has a whole bunch of stuff in the Amazon cart that will make the booth look more presentable. Because at first we just started off with, oh my God, we started off with a printer that printed real slow. And we had people fussing at us because they liked the images, but they didn't like how long the image was taking to be printed. So then we invested into what they call an event printer for photographers. And when we invested in that, so we start off with the printer, a laptop, and we even had to upgrade our laptop because the laptop that we was using kept crashing on us at certain events. So we had to even upgrade our laptop. But then it was still look the plain because now we just have a skirt on the table, printer, laptop, and that's pretty much it. Then my wife like, oh no, we need to have this so this picture could be presented and have a screen, a monitor that they'll have a slideshow while you out. So it's great when they come on board because they have a level they can add to the vision that can take us to the next level. And it's amazing feeling because on the opposite end, or should I say on the outside of our marriages, there are some people that are married, and I'm sure you heard the stories where they don't have that support. Even when they do see the vision, they still don't have that support because their spouse still want them to do something else. So,
Or they're afraid they're going to get left behind.
ooh, now that's deep
Because
right there.
sometimes it's jealousy. So you got to
That's
be
deep too.
listen, one of the things that I struggled with when we were all younger was this concept of being equally yoked, right? And for a little while, I felt a little anxiety about my husband not, quote unquote, being in the church, right? Because I was seeing other people getting married. But then I was like, these people getting married to these folks who's in the church, they getting beat up in the head, they getting all kind of stuff happening to them, and that's not happening in my household.
You are so correct. What Bishop Campbell say? Denying the power. He's always at these. He has so many sayings. Oh, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. Having a form of godliness, denying the power thereof. And Bishop Campbell used to always say that because you have a form of godliness. You have the form of, you're a preacher. You have the form of an evangelist. You have a form of prayer warrior and so on and so on. But you denying the actual power of God. You actually denying the power of deliverance because when you get home, you beating, you either doing physical abuse or verbal abuse.
Yes.
Because you are insecure you're not even insecure of the people on the outside, but you're insecure of who's in your home, who you lay with, so yeah, that's so true.
Wow. Well, listen, I think, first of all, we didn't have no script, so I love that because this is about authentic conversation. But I think we have shown everybody about how to master self-discipline for
Yes.
growth.
Yes.
Your Instagram handles and all of those are scrolling across the bottom of the screen so people will know how to reach you.
Okay.
In 2024, what's next?
2024, I am looking to have my own studio.
Come on
That
here.
is that is my big focus. And the difference with my studio is it would have both businesses inside. It would have the side or the space for me cutting hair, and then a big open space for me to do my photography. That is my number one goal dream for 2024 is to have my businesses operating under one roof with the proper space and things of that nature. Because I really have a dream to really become this high fashion wedding photographer. You know, that's my goals. And it's fun for me to say that because weddings was the first thing I ran from in photography because there's a lot of work. And you got bridezillas and you got
Groomzillas,
groomzillas. You took the word out of my mouth. I'm about to say that too because
mother-in-law, Grizillas.
you know, so bad coordinators. Now that's the one thing that whoever watching this, they make sure you have a professional coordinator with your events because coordinators can mess up your vision. And I know this is probably off topic, but
It's the truth though, because it
it's the
happened
truth.
to us.
Yeah, bad coordinators could. I mean, you can give your coordinator everything that you want. And I experienced this in weddings, and I also experienced this in just regular events. People that hosted events or banquets and things of that nature. You can give your photographer or your videographer one vision, and we can have this consultation, get everything squared away, and then we get to the event because you don't have a professional coordinator. It's like they having you doing things that's they're shortening your time limits, and then when people are not having what they thought they wanted, oh well, I don't have a picture of this. Or I don't have a picture of that. Okay. Where's this and where's that? Well, you shortened my time from an hour to 30 minutes, or 30 minutes to 15 minutes, or 15 minutes to 10 minutes. You know, so,
The discipline. And you got to have a plan.
Gotta have a
So
plan.
one of the things that we did after season 1 is capture lessons learned. And we're still capturing lessons learned.
Right.
How to turn the sounds off on the phone, what time we arrive, what I wear, how my sleeve is looking. But
Yeah.
we're continuing to move forward because I refuse to get caught up in the mess.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to acknowledge them because you got to acknowledge them
Yeah.
and say, okay, next time we're going to do such and such. Just like we're like in our next space, what look do we want it to have? Because I am focusing on the one thing. The Growth Motivator Enterprise is my one thing.
Yeah.
I am no longer going to allow myself to be held hostage by salary and benefits.
Ah, that's
And so
good.
focusing on this one thing
love it. And
is the
I agree.
vision. It is the vision.
Yeah.
And yes, my graphic designer, Travell Southall, talked about how earlier in his entrepreneurship experience, his journey, how it was a struggle and it can impact your household.
Yes.
But you got to write that vision. You got
Yes.
to make it plain. And like we like to do, execute, execute, execute.
Exactly, and it's so true because God has blessed me with a prayer ministry called Kingdom Movement Prayer Ministry, and where we believe in the movement of God in every area of our life. And last year, God put in my heart to do something, and I'm about to do it also again next year in 2024, where I did a brothering, a vision writing event for the brothers. And
Are you going to include the young brothers? Because young, listen.
But you know what? It's actually last year I only had 3 guys that came, and we had an awesome time. I mean, we did more talking vision than we did writing vision. But the thing was, even after we verbalize it, to make sure that we write it down. And even in that session that we had, it was so awesome because not only was we talking vision for as far as financial, but we was also talking vision for our mental health. Because a lot of people don't know I had a spell of mental illness a year or so ago. So depression, how you react when things don't go the way that you desire for them to go. And we're going to do it again next year. I talked to the same brothers already. They ready for next year as well. And this is a vision writing gathering. And it's actually do start at 18. It's just that no one of that age showed up. So it was all like pretty much 30 and up that we had. But we had an awesome time. And actually, I was going to do it next year, but it was one of the brothers that reminded me because I also cut his hair. He was like, "Hey, we doing the vision writing next year?" I said, "Yeah, we're going to do it." So they are excited. They motivate me to. It's awesome. But it really helps the brothers to channel everything that they got going on at home, everything they got going on in business and their work life. And it not only blessed me, but it blessed them, and that was the most encouraging part about it all.
Well, you know what? I'm just going to tell you, I do these growth plan workshops. And so we're recording this episode. It's December 2023. So this episode is going to air sometime in 2024. So this episode is your accountability partner, my accountability partner. And
Awesome.
I challenge you to first let your wife map out the plan for your event. And start now planning for the event. What location you want to have,
Yeah.
what it's gonna look like. Because I too am going to do an in-person event. I'm gonna take 12 months to plan it so that
Okay.
it could be the way that I want it to be,
Yeah.
from the perspective of streaming it live,
Yeah.
photography, right? So I'm putting my putting my bid in now.
I love it.
But it takes time
Yeah.
to plan a successful event, because we'll talk about this after the episode, but you need all of these things for your event to be successful, and you need time to plan it. But you also need a team,
Yeah.
because everything you can't do yourself, everything Sonya can't do herself, and your team. And I realized this from my 50th birthday party earlier this year. My day of coordinators were not related to me,
Okay.
because sometimes cousin, auntie, friends, they don't understand how to separate the business aspect.
Correct.
And so having individuals to support your vision, that needs to be their number one goal, and not worried about everything else.
Yeah.
And that's how it's going to work out.
Yeah, I believe, and it's great you say that, because you just confirmed something my wife always say. Man, you need a team, and I'm like, well, who can I trust? She was like, but you need a team. So yes, I truly 100% agree, and it's not that I can't build a team, because I always help people that say they want to work with me and do things in that nature. So it's all about me just executing it and getting it done.
And start meeting with them and making sure that they understand your vision, because at
Yeah.
the end of the day, you're the face of the business, and they have to understand your vision.
Yep, correct.
And so you got to make sure. There's a book I want to recommend to you, actually 2 books, because
Okay.
I am reading.
Okay.
On Wednesday evenings, I do these 30 minutes of growth.
Okay.
And so for 2024, every episode, Wednesday evening, 6 p.m. Central Time, will be where I'm interviewing a different book author.
Okay.
And so there are 2 books that I read in 2023 that helped me. One was The One Thing, which is why I'm focusing on one thing.
Okay.
But the other is Who Not How.
Okay.
There is this employment discrimination attorney, Shakita Hall Jackson, who encouraged me to read Who Not How, which helped me understand that I can get the things done, but it's the who's. You need individual who's who can do the things that you have a vision to be done.
Yeah.
So Who Not How, One Thing. And then, of course, you also should read Grow With Me, which is by yours truly. And in Grow With Me, it's a memoir, but it's motivational.
Okay.
And I talk a lot about my own journey, but I haven't even talked about everything, which is why I'm writing another book.
Awesome.
Because, and this is my last thing, and we're going to end this episode, which is usually only supposed to be 30 minutes, but when it's good, right? I really think that you need to write a book. And we'll talk off camera, because I don't want anybody to steal your idea. But
Confirmation. I'll just say that, confirmation.
you need to write a book, because there's a certain audience that you need to help. But we'll talk about that off the camera, because you got to trademark everything, copyright everything, because people will steal your stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it has been a pleasure having this conversation. I think our conversation is probably the longest that we've had in the 2 seasons. That means it was good, right?
Okay.
Because we don't got a script.
not
I
at
got
all.
this iPad up mostly for a timer, even though we went over the time. But I want to thank you for coming and sharing your experience with others. Trust me, you have helped someone today.
Wow. Glory to God.
Ah, awesome. Well, this has been the Growth Motivator Live. I am your host, Dr. Lisa L. Campbell. I will see you next time.